Thanks, Jing. Welcome to today.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Thanks for taking the time to just spend a couple of minutes with me, just talking a little bit about your experience on the Leadership Excellence Program. So, you are the Paraplanning and Compliance Senior Manager.
Mhm.
And what I'm really keen to understand from your perspective is where were you as a leader
Mhm.
before you actually joined the Leadership Excellence Program?
Um, I think where I was as a leader originally was I would just, I guess one term is fly by the seat of your pants sort of thing.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
the sense of I didn't have any structural, I mean, I had some theories that I'd been shown or taught and things like that previously, but not a lot, right? So a lot of the things were just, I don't want to say second nature, maybe just logical to me, like common sense of like, well, I understand how people, I like to think I understand how people think from a general perspective.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think based off that, if we approach this, if we message this in this way, it would be more of a positive impact and help morale and, increase motivation rather than being more of a demoralizing thing. Or it might be if I speak to this person that way, you might connect with them better,
Yeah.
things like that. But there wasn't, as I said, there wasn't much theory behind it. It was just basic things like DISC, control and influence,
Yeah,
at
yeah.
cause, at effect, things like that. But no real comprehensive models and theory behind it. So a lot of it, as I said, was just this is what I need to do now, or this is what I'm trying to achieve. I
Yeah.
think doing it this way would be the best way to achieve that. That's just what makes sense to me. And then I just do
Yeah.
it, basically.
Yes.
So, um, yeah, it was very much free form, I think, is maybe a better way to phrase it.
It's such a good point because I often find that um, as leaders, we
Mm,
either learn through the leaders that we've been around, we either
mhm,
like
mhm,
them or we didn't, right? So we
mhm,
follow
mhm,
their
mhm,
way or we
mhm,
don't follow their way, but we don't have that real structure or the tools or the frameworks to actually go, well, what is the right way? We're just kind of,
mm,
as you say, just trying to figure out whether or not it's going to work and whether
mm,
or
mm,
not it's not.
mm, mm, mm,
And that's the one thing the leadership program does, doesn't it? It
mm,
gives you
mm, mm,
that the
mm.
tools and the
Yep,
frameworks for
yep,
all of those. So you're
yep.
actually not going, I'm just going to fly by the seat of my pants here and just hope that it
Mhm,
lands. You've
mhm,
actually got those tools and structure.
mhm, mhm.
So what's shifted for you now then as a leader?
For me, it would the one word answer to that would be confidence, essentially. So where that confidence comes from is, and I think you touched on it earlier, having the background and actually understanding the theory and the concept. Like, as I said, in my head, I got a rough idea of why this would work. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it, right, initially. But again, it adds a lot more detail, context, uh, and structure around why it works, how it works, why it's effective. Like that's what it enables me to. It's kind of like a tradesman that I like analogies. So it's kind of like a tradesman that, oh, I'll just use a hammer because to me, that's what I think would work to put this nail inside the wood. But then now they understand, oh, there's weight to it, and this is why a hammer works, this is why it's effective. So it enables me to better utilize those tools, if that makes sense, because I understand how it works better, which then enables me to implement it better. I think that's a better way of saying it. It enables me to implement these things in a clearer and more structured way because it comes with the understanding. And that's where the confidence comes from.
I'm going to steal that because
Mm.
I love I
Love
love
you.
that, isn't it? We can use a hammer, and I'm probably maybe it works so well for me
Mm,
because every time I try to get
mm,
a nail into the wall, it always
mm.
bends. So I'm
Yeah.
clearly not doing
Yeah.
it
The right way.
right
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
right? But what you're saying here is that when you know how to use the hammer,
Mhm.
the nail goes in,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And what I love about that is that, one of the things that I really want leaders to feel when they finish our program is
Mm.
confidence,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So for you to say that makes me feel like we're actually achieving what is so
Yep.
important to me because I
Yep.
want leaders to feel like they're confident when they have to manage underperformance or lead
Mhm.
change or communicate with influence or handle conflict. That's what I want. I want
Mhm.
leaders to feel that, but they're not going to feel it if they don't know how to use the hammer, right? The
Mhm.
tools
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
the frameworks and the
exactly. Yep.
resources
And
to,
that's the thing. You can use the hammer because you understand how it works better. Now you're like, well, now I got an
yeah,
idea. I can use this. If I need to break down a wall, I
yes,
can now use a hammer. A hammer is a viable tool to break down the wall. It's not just for hammering in nails because I understand how the hammer works and the physics
yeah.
behind it and things like that. So it's that's what I mean. I'm better able to implement and utilize those tools, not
Yeah.
just for that one use case, but
Yes.
it's just another, this is
Tool in
corny,
your
but another tool.
toolbox.
But yeah, you already know exactly. It's just literally another tool in my toolbox. So, yeah.
I love it. I love it. What would you say to someone that was thinking about uh, either joining our program or even developing their leadership skills and confidence? What would you say?
I think I would say that this is an opportunity, and I think that the opportunity leads itself to better outcomes. So I guess another way of phrasing that is, I believe that and it's not easy as well. I think like there's elements of self-reflection which to
Yeah.
some people can be quite difficult, right? Or can be quite confrontational at times, like the
Yeah.
self-awareness and that sort of thing. And there's
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
element of being humbled through it as well, like because you're seeing the things that you didn't know, and there's an like I keep saying, there's that element of self-awareness that's attached to that. So,
Yeah.
with that, I think it's an opportunity to develop and grow, so not just as a leader, but in your personal life. Like, and I can pull on specific examples, like the habits.
Yes.
That's been really powerful to me, and I think the way I phrased it and what you've taught me through that is success is a habit. It's not something that you stumble upon. It's not, I mean, some for 0.1% of people, they
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
lucky
Yeah.
and win the lotto or, things go
Yes.
crazy in COVID and then they become millionaires or whatever, right? Like,
Yeah.
I understand that. There's that element
Yes.
to it. But the other
Yeah.
99.9% of the
Of
time,
us.
yeah, exactly. The ones that maybe aren't so lucky. Um, that's built through habits basically.
Yeah,
It's
it
not just
is.
through hard work. It's kind of like the hard work is through the habits and discipline. So I've
Yeah.
been learning more about that and reading more into those sort of things too, but it really has drilled in that the success comes because you've built the right habits and the right discipline, which then enables you to then perform at your best and perform at your potential, I should say. And that's when the success comes. So it's kind of like if you've mastered that, and I say this to everyone all the time, what's the lever that we're trying to control here? Once we got a control of that lever and master that lever, the outcome, the results, they'll take care of themselves. They'll
Yeah.
come because
Yeah.
we've got the lever working the way it should, right? So
Yes.
yeah, the outcome will speak for itself. So I think that's the biggest thing for me is yeah, success is a habit. It's not
Yeah,
something that you
I
just
love
yeah.
it. I love it because, it always reminds me of, the iceberg.
Mm,
People just see the success up the top,
mm-hmm,
but what they don't see is all the self-reflection and the
mm-hmm,
hard
mm-hmm,
work and
mm-hmm,
the hours and
mm-hmm,
and as you say, that humbleness, because so
mm-hmm,
many people go, well, I actually think I'm pretty good at this leadership
mm-hmm,
gig,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
But then through the program, it gives them that understanding to go, you know what, leadership's a journey. It's not a
mm-hmm.
destination.
Yep,
People are different.
yep,
We have to continue to be learning and growing
mm-hmm,
ourselves as leaders in order to be able to grow
mm-hmm,
our teams. And I'll just say one last thing because I think it's so critically important is for the first time in history we're leading four generations. So
mm-hmm,
we can no longer be that leader that we
mm-hmm,
once were. We've got
mm-hmm,
to be able to continue to grow. So
mm-hmm,
for you to turn around and go, I was humbled and I had to have that self-reflection. I had to learn what I didn't know or
mm-hmm,
even relearn what I did know but had
mm-hmm,
forgot about it. I
mm-hmm,
think it's so important because
mm-hmm,
sometimes we kind of forget that we do have that level
mm-hmm.
of growth still to do within
Mm,
ourselves.
mm, mm, mm. I think I'm sure you would have heard it. You know the Kruger-Dunning theory, the
No.
Dunning-Kruger theory, I think they call it. Um, so it's kind of like a graph. So it's like on one axis you've got confidence, the vertical one, and on the
Yeah.
horizontal one you've got experience or knowledge. So the
Yes.
graph starts in the corner, right, as it should, and then the line tracks up, and then it drops. So when it tracks up, that little point, that peak
Yeah.
there, they call it the
Yes.
peak of Mount Stupid, because what
Yeah.
that is like
Ah, I love it.
you've only had a little bit of experience and knowledge, but your confidence shoots up. So you think that
Yes.
you know you've mastered this, right? You're like, oh, I'm an
Yes.
expert and all this sort of stuff. But
Yes.
you're not. Like this isn't something to be embarrassed. This is what I tell people all the time. It's not something
Yeah.
to be embarrassed about. This is just human. All it is that graph is just showing human ego. That's what the graph
Yes.
is showing. That's all it really is trying to get across, right? So it
Yes.
goes up there and you call that peak amount stupid, but then it
Mount
drops.
Stupid.
Yeah, that's literally, if you look up the model, it literally calls it peak amount stupid. And then it drops, the line
Love it.
drops down to the bottom immediately, and then it starts tracking up gradually on like a really slight gradient all the way through. So it's like, I
Right.
think to your point, that's kind of what the course has helped. It's like it helps you if you're on the peak amount stupid, that and you
Yes.
accept the humbling and you go,
Yes.
like you're saying, this is where, and that's what they say in that theory. When it drops there, that's when they say that's when the real learning
Growth
starts. This, that,
happens.
yeah, that's the real learning,
Yes.
and that's when you
Yes.
eventually, 10 years later, become an expert lawyer or doctor or whatever. Like that's where the journey actually starts. You have to get past this point, and then
Yeah.
the learning happens. Um, so it really
It,
helps with that, I think.
it is, and I was just speaking to a leader this morning actually,
Mm,
and saying that, if I'm not learning and growing
mm,
as a leader,
mm, mm,
then how do I help others learn and grow?
mm-hmm.
So for me, that's my, well, I teach leadership, so I don't need to learn anymore. Absolutely not,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I need to keep filling my tank
Mm-hmm,
so that I can be humbled enough, just like you sharing
mm-hmm,
that
mm-hmm,
concept with me, to go, wow,
mm-hmm,
that's something new I haven't learned,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm,
Regardless of how many years of
mm-hmm,
experience I've got
mm-hmm.
and how much knowledge I've got, we
Yep.
still got to keep on growing, don't we?
Yep, yep, yep. No, absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
And that's that leadership's a journey. It's not a
Hmm.
destination, right?
Hmm.
We've got to keep on
Exactly.
learning.
Yep, yep, exactly. Yep.
Thank you, Jing. Thank you for being part of the program.
My pleasure. Really was.
I'm always love working with leaders that want to grow, that want to
Mm.
learn, that want to kind of share knowledge, but
Hmm.
also realize that they want to just keep
Hmm.
on growing. So
Yep.
thank you for your own leadership, but also for those that you lead as well. So thank
No,
you.
thank you. And no, thank you for you as well. As I said in the testimonial, it's genuinely made a significant, impact. As I said, not just work, but personally as well. So
Love it.
yeah, I really appreciate it. I genuinely thank you.
My absolute pleasure. My absolute pleasure. Thanks, Jing.
That's all right. Not a problem.